Hello and welcome back to Making It podcast. We're here for episode 8, and I say it at the start of every episode, Dan, I can't believe that we're actually this many episodes in. It's been 2 months of consistent podcasts, and I just want to start by saying I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope that you're seeing a sort of a journey between, for me and Dan at the moment. But first of all, Dan, welcome. Good to have you here. You're looking remarkably fresh with the new trim.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Had a new haircut on Thursday. You know what? I feel really good this week. I'm feeling great. Looking forward to chatting to the listeners again. Looking forward to chatting to you. How have you been this week? Because for you, you're coming up to your final days now in Australia. You're going back. What is it? Tomorrow night or the night after? Monday. Okay, you're going back Monday. And I looked on your Facebook and it was like day 20 in Australia. And I said to Scarlett, I was like, it's been there 20 days now. Yeah. You know, if you had to look at Australia and just how it's been, what's like some takeaways you've had from being there? And how does it feel now you're going to be going back home next week?
Well, I had some really big ones in the last few days because we go on Monday morning at 6 a.m. We actually get back on the same day because of how the time zones work. So it's so weird. I'll try and work it out before the end of the episode, and I'll say it at the end. But the big takeaways for me has been that there is more to life than the area that you know, and that is a big thing because you've discovered this with Newcastle, and definitely. You'll discover it when you eventually leave Newcastle.
Newcastle.
You leave Newcastle.
I'm over here and you're in Newcastle.
Oh God, Newcastle. But for anyone that is just thinking that, there isn't more to life than just where you are, that there's so much more, and it isn't just here. Like, this is just my example because it's probably one of the furthest away places you can be. So I just thought, well, why not? Let's just make this the place. And I've realised what I've not missed. I have missed going out with my friends, but like getting really, really drunk and just the sort of day-to-day drama. And I know you don't like me swearing, Dan, but I'm just gonna say the bitchiness, of how it is back home. And that's not a shot at anyone that I know, because I'm not saying anyone's bitchy towards me necessarily, but just the general sort of mentality at home. I've enjoyed seeing something different, where people will say a good morning to you. Do you know what I mean? That will ask how you are, that will just start and have try and have a conversation with you, and just greet you. And it's been nice to experience something different. And, again, not working is great. I've this week, I might as well just say it while I'm here. I was coaching on Wednesday night, and the coach asked me if I wanted to come with, because I'd done some futsal coaching with him.
Who were you coaching? Before. Is that what it was, futsal?
So this one was, so I did coach futsal on the Tuesday night. I got called in last minute to coach the team, and we won 5-2, so buzzing about that. That's the Monday, sorry. But we did coaching at Gold Coast United, which is like obviously a local NPL team, and the NPL I think is just below the A leagues, and we were coaching the under 14, so the same as what I do back home. And it was amazing. I just walked on the turf and I'm like, I want to be here. I want to coach here. Like you just get that moment. There's places that you go to in life where you go, oh, this is nice, or oh, I'd like to work here, or this is cool. But then there's places where you go, I gotta be here.
Yeah,
like this is me. This is a bit
feels
of me.
A part of you.
Just me.
Yeah,
that feels. I just felt something in me be like, yeah, this little thing here, this is good. So, potentially joining them as an assistant coach in June. So that'll be really exciting. But
awesome.
But to answer your thing and not make it too long-winded, just discovering there's more to life than just where you are at home. Being out of your comfort zone, and just learning different cultures and stuff.
Right,
but how has your week been? Because we haven't spoke a remarkable amount this week, but it sounds like from what we spoke about, you've had a pretty decent week.
Yeah, I miss talking to you, man. I was going to say I've missed seeing your face on the screen, boss. But this week's been good, and I've noticed at the start of the week, I find I get certain thoughts creep in, almost like a new week is almost like a reset button. And I know you spoke about it before, where that can account to some dangerous thinking, because people think, oh, I'll leave something to the next week. But either way, a new week feels like a new opportunity. Like we spoke, in the last podcast. And I find sometimes at the start of the week, I get certain thoughts, maybe you could label them as negative thoughts, creep into my head. And then as the week goes on, they kind of fade away when I get into like the flow of things. So I think just from there, I think I've noticed just to kind of, that's why it is important to sit with your thoughts, because we do get busy and we do get caught up in things, so we don't get the chance to. But in terms of my week's been really good. To fair, I feel really good. Went to Hull on Wednesday. We had an away day, so I'll tell the listeners about this. So finally, I can tell you guys about a game. We've had our first game of the semester, 3-hour trip to Hull, and it was, you know what, I really enjoyed it because I've not been part of like a big team like that, like a proper uni team. But coaching the Sixers at Northumbria is giving me that opportunity to be. And it's given me the opportunity to be a part of it in a different way I never expected. And, you know, I brought my speaker, I brought my cards, and like the boys were loving it. And I kind of sat down and I thought, it feels nice that I'm making an impact on these lads. Do you know what I mean? And we get there, and just for context, last time we played this team, it was my actual first game with this team, and we lost 5-3. We actually went 5-1 down. They're not that good of a team, but neither were we at that point. We weren't good players, but not a team. And we ended up drawing 0-0. So we travelled 3 hours for a 0-0 result. However, if you're comparing that to the last game, a 0-0 is much better. Still disappointing because we started the game great. Like, the shape was there. I've been working on the 2 banks of 4. And for people who don't understand what that means, you're maybe not into football. 2 banks of 4 is basically 4 players at the back and 4 in midfield, and you make 2 lines of 4 basically. So the shape was great. We were on the forefront for like the first 15 minutes. Like, we should have took opportunities to score, but we didn't. We had a penalty just before half time, and striker missed it. He's not missed a penalty in 7 years, you know. Like, that's just unfortunate.
That's gonna hurt, man.
We go into the second half and we lose our shape a bit because we're getting a bit desperate to win. We had chances cleared off the line. We had an open goal missed. It was unfortunate we didn't get a 1-0 at least. But aside from that, clean sheet, it's a positive. We move on from last time losing 5-3 to them. And we're unbeaten in the last, I think it's 4 games now. 3 games for me because I don't think I was there for one of them. But it's looking really good. Their defensive shape's there now. It's just about the offensive side of it. But the main takeaway I took from that day was just, it feels nice to have had an impact, because even on the pitch, working on the shape, they become a lot more of a team. But it's nice to know that they've gained a respect for me. And like, it was interesting because we had a few lads come from the 7s to come help us out because we were short on numbers. And I was speaking to them and they were like, they said they appreciated like me talking to them when they were on the bench and stuff. Like, I was telling them, look for who's in your position right now, you know, observe what you're going to do when you come on the pitch. And you know what, it was a nice day, and we came back and we were still in good spirits. It was disappointing because we didn't get the result we wanted. However, there's some serious improvement going on there, and that's where it sparked a question I want to ask for you. And has there ever been a time in your life where you feel like you've made an impact on somebody? Because I was kind of sitting there, and sometimes you think to yourself, it's an interesting thought I had. It's like, I made an impact on somebody, but sometimes it feels like I actually have the potential to do that. It's like, you think, wow, like, this is really me that's done this. It's you don't understand you have those tools to be able to make an impact on a whole group of people, or, you know, an individual person. You know, there's bigger figures in the world who make an impact on whole countries. It's amazing we have that power. Can you think of an individual, or, I mean, you could even say that futsal team you did that coaching with, where you feel like you really made an impact, and, you know, big yourself up for it, because I think it's good to big yourself up for making an impact on people. You know, there's no ego in that.
I think you're spot on, Dan. I think, you know, that it's almost like an unreal experience when you know as a person that you can impact someone so positively that even they can achieve above what you believe they could achieve. You know, you impact someone so much and improve their mindset and mentality so much that they surpass even what you thought, you know, which then spurs you on to keep wanting to do that. it's a lovely sort of reciprocating attitude to have.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
And, you know, with your team, Dan, you know, I know what a good group of lads you've got there. You know,
They're great.
You know, a couple that I've spoken to, you know, fairly recently. Shout out to Nathan because he knows I'm coming to Newcastle, so I'm sure he'll catch up for a beer with old Tyndall. But yeah, you know, I think that football team, you know, for me, it's definitely improvement. A 0-0 for a 3-hour trip, that's heritage, man. That is what football is. You know, like that is the result that you get. You know, and as long as you see the improvement and you know where you need to improve with your offensive structure, which I think you can do easily. You know, but I don't want this to become like a sort of like
a Jay and Dan podcast, yeah.
At like 12 p.m. or whatever it is. For context, like me and Dan, I think we probably speak at the most random times of day about like what formation Dan's playing and stuff. Yeah. But anyway, impact that I've had. I mean, the futsal game for me was massive. I felt really proud because when I got there, one of the guy that usually coaches is just a dad, right? So he just does it because he has to keep the team going, and he's a really great guy. And you know, I'd watched them the week before, and I was told by the parents, look, don't expect much this game. Just be there and just spur them on, and that's all you can do. This team that they're playing is really good. So I watched the other team when they were training, and I just let the lads just kind of kick about while I was doing it. And I was like, it's just futsal, right? Like, it's such a quick moving game that I can only tell them to do so much. They have to act so quick. They have to think so quick. You've got to put a lot of reliance on them. Whereas in football, you can almost buy yourself a bit of time. In futsal, you can't really do that. So I told them the shape I wanted them to play, and I watched them very briefly. And there was a young lad called Marlowe, and he's just this really small lad, but he's a definite midfielder for sure. Like, I just watched him for like a minute, and I'm like, midfielder. I thought, midfielder in futsal, let's do it. So we played like a 2-1-1 or whatever it was. And within like the first 2 minutes, I discovered like a pattern that their striker was doing, kind of jumping forward and trying to press really high on a goal kick, which doesn't really make sense. But we found that pattern, and I said to one of the lads, I said, just keep watching this player as he runs past you and leaves that space. And you just run into that space, make a run and have a shot. We won 5-2. And I was buzzing. And I was because he kept following that. And that small impact I had in that 30-minute game or whatever it was, that just made my day. I just felt so happy. But, you know, I think I would like to think that I've had impact on, you know, on my friends as well. I'd like to think that I've had some sort of impact. I don't know specifically because, you know, I don't want to go out saying to my mates on like a questionnaire, hey, what impact have I had on you?
Yeah, you can never really know. It's not measurable, is it?
Yeah, but the sort of noticeable ones, I think, at least from mine and your perspectives, will be sports related, because you can measure that numerically by, you know, scores and stuff. But, you know, even your Instagram, Dan Ferguson SP, follow on Instagram. Got to get the plug in there.
Come on.
You know, that page, that has an impact on me. I enjoy watching the stuff because it's a nice way to wake up, or in my case, like, go to sleep on it. You know, and I know my mum watches it, and I know loads of people watch it and they enjoy it. So your impact, I know of your impact, you know, on a lot of other people. You know, so I think it's good to talk about the impact we know about, because it brings you a little bit of comfort and it brings you a bit of pride. But, you know, the impact that you don't know of, that you slowly discover through life, that is so special. That is so special.
100%. And drawing on what you're saying, I think as a person, really try and make an impact on people. You know, we have that ability to make an impact. You know, I can say you've made a great impact on me. I hold you as a friend who levels me up as a human being. And I've got the greatest respect for you for that. And I just think if you're listening right now, you know, you've got this one life. How much of an impact can you make on people? Because realistically, how you make people feel is one of the biggest things in life we all have the capability to do. And it's such a great thing to be able to do. You know, I've got to mention this week, I left my part-time job that I have up here working at Red House. And it wasn't easy. But I haven't been taking my own advice, which I've been saying on the podcast, and I haven't been slowing things down. There's been a lot on my plate. You know, things are spilling over, and I love Red House, but Red House doesn't go towards where I want to be in life. It just gives me money, you know? So it's one of those things where I love working there, but it was time to hang up my Red House boots. And I went there on Thursday and I just said, look, you guys are clearly seeing that I'm not committing to work as much because they noticed it. And I just said, I just can't be available as much as I want to be. But she said she completely understood. And she said, look, Dan, like, we'd take you back in a heartbeat. You're a lovely guy. You graft for us. The door is wide open for you. And that just made me feel really nice because it's just knowing I had that impact. And we all have an ability to have that impact. And I've not actually spoken about it yet on the podcast, but to the listeners, what is your reason why? You know, what is your reason why for your day-to-day life? What is your reason why for doing what you do in life? It's so important. And I think one of my biggest reasons why is making a positive impact on people around me, because it's such a beautiful thing to see that prosper. So, Jamie, what is your reason why on a day-to-day basis? What really gets you ticking in life and really gets you grooving and moving? And what gets you dancing in life? You know, what is your reason why? It's a deep question, but it's a question we all need to consider.
I think bettering myself more, I think is probably the biggest, because at the end of the day, you are the most important person in your life. That is the thing you have to remember. That I know that people always talk about being selfless and supporting each other, but you are the most important person. You are the main character in your movie, right? That's just who you are. But yeah, that is my sort of, yeah, that would be, self-betterment, self-improvement, 100%.
How do you feel that benefits people around you?
Because I feel that when I'm a better person, I can impact other people better. Because I know that when I make mistakes continuously, like I continue to do, by the way, like there's so many things, like I've been saying it since the second podcast even, I still go on my phone late at night. I still don't read enough. This week I've been reading way more, so I can maybe put that one aside. But until I better myself to get off my phone before bed, I can't impact someone's ability to slow down using their phone before bed because I've not bettered myself. How can I expect someone to be better as a result of the advice I've given them, or the words I've said to them, or the actions that I've shown to influence them, if I haven't done that myself? This is the really important thing. So in order for you to better other people, you really got to better yourself. And that should be people's reasons why, I think. I mean, I don't go up every morning going, oh, how am I going to impact someone today? Do you know what I mean? You should almost program yourself to be a good person, and for that to just happen instinctually, just for you to just impact someone in a positive way instinctually.
It's a very, very interesting way to put it, to be fair. And I think that is a really good key takeaway. If you can be your best self, if you can love yourself, then naturally, without even thinking, you'll learn to love others. You'll learn to help better others. In terms of bettering yourself and learning about yourself, I don't think I've mentioned it on the podcast. I don't even know if I told you yet, but I've took up this mentoring program recently where I believe I have told you. I've sent you some voice note about it once, but basically it's called Bizarre Mentoring, and they were advertising it at the uni. And practically it's about someone wants to get experience in the psychology field. They want to get used to that one-on-one. So they take it up as a placement. And then what my role is I'm the mentee. So I'm the person they're almost practicing on, in a way. But they have this program. It's an 8-week program. I meet this person for an hour every week, and we talk about our feelings, thoughts, it's a different topic every week. So to make it easier for the listeners, this week we did gratitude and mindfulness. And just for an hour, we have the tunes on in the background. We watch a few videos. They've got like a a structure to the session that we follow. But it's just so nice to sit one-on-one. And, you know, I've never met this person before. It's some girl who's in third year. She's trying to get work on her placement. And, you know, it's really nice to be able to sit down and process your thoughts and think about what different things mean that go on in your mind. And, you know, what are you grateful for? You know, we speak about that on the podcast. Every week we get to answer that question with this mentoring. It's almost felt like a bit of therapy, really, free therapy. And I've really been enjoying it. So this was my third week of doing it. And something I was thinking about this week, and I've spoke about it a lot to myself before, and I've thought about it a lot. And I find in my life, especially when I was a little bit younger, I always felt there was something bigger out there for me to achieve. I knew I had some form of potential, something where I could really make that impact. And I feel right now, I don't have that feeling anymore. I still have that feeling there is something bigger, but I feel like I'm living it now. I feel like that bigger thing I always felt I could do, I've now almost took hold of it. And I really first felt it when I was marathon training, because that's such a big accolade. And, you know, training for that, I really felt like I had this like big target, a big motivator, something I was capable of doing, because I feel like I've got the potential to do something like that. And doing this podcast, you know, I've got this energy, and you talk about my videos, I've got this energy I just want to displace to other people. And I feel like now I've got an outlet for that. And I'm grateful for that. I feel like I always felt like there was something bigger. And sometimes it'd be like coming back from a party and I've had a few beers and I'm thinking in my head, like, oh yeah, I've got potential to do something, but I'm coming off a party, like having a few beers. But now I feel like I'm living it. And I thought about that this week, and I feel really grateful for that. And you spoke about bettering yourself. Where are places where you feel you get to displace those positive impacts you have and that purpose you have of bettering yourself? Where do you feel like that does disperse out to?
Here, first of all, you know, like, you know, you said it was like a therapy session. It is, you know, and there's probably a few things I want to touch on later in the episode, you know, the next 5-10 minutes, about things that haven't been so good this week, but things that I'm sort of working to better myself that are quite personal to me. But yeah, this for sure, this is somewhere I like to share my positive impact on the football pitch. You know, since I injured my ankle, you know, I haven't played football. I've been too scared because I didn't want to injure myself again. Now, during training, I'm a coach who likes to get involved. If I'm telling you how to do something, I should set an example and do it. Like I said with the positive impact, if I'm giving you advice, I should be able to, you know, do these things myself. So, you know, I was getting involved, and within the first 10 minutes, I found myself properly playing. I was part of the back four for a minute, then I was in the midfield, and then I was in the attack, and I was showing things, and I'm like, I'm playing football again. Do you know what I mean? Like, and my ankle did hurt a little bit, but it felt so good and so nice, and I had that positive impact. You know, I like to think when I'm at work, I like to think I'm offering some sort of comedic value at a time that's sort of a bit boring, or a bit, you know, a bit like.
I can tell you when I come to work, I know I'm on shift with you, I always feel a lot better.
Come on, and likewise as well. You know, I want to be more positive, even in times when I'm grumpy. You know what I've started doing now? If I'm feeling grumpy, I go to people that are important to me and I say, look, just letting you know, I'm feeling really grumpy today. Don't take it personal. And then after that, I'll go, why the hell did I just tell everyone I'm grumpy? I'm just going to put a smile on my face and just get on with it, and then I'm all right. Like, I don't want to have that negative impact just because I'm feeling a certain way on a day. But yeah, you know, just the positive impact that we have indirectly and directly is so special. And, you know, your positive impact on me has been both definitely direct and indirect as well, through things that you do and you say, you know, and it's great, you know, what we've got going on. You know, this podcast, the vision that I have for it and that you have for it is shared, and it goes so far. And we want this podcast as a collective to have a really positive impact on you, because the whole reason that the foundations of what this is built on, this podcast, is we're two people who don't exactly know what's coming for us in life. That's quite daunting, but we want to share our experience, and you can relate that to you. and we want you to sort of pick away from this, not take everything we say as this is how your life will go or how it won't go, but just pick away things and go, oh, this could be me, or that's happened to me before. How did you deal with it? Do you know what I mean? Like this is what podcasts do, and this is why they're so important. But also on a podcast, you should share things that are quite personal. And I'm just going to go head first with it.
I was going to say, tell us about how you've been feeling.
So, obviously it was Valentine's Day yesterday. I don't have a girlfriend personally, so I suppose we're at two different perspectives in this respect as well, Dan. But which is a bit crap. Do you know what I mean? It's not the best thing in the world, depending on how you view it. Obviously, I know a lot of people who enjoy their own company, and I do enjoy mine to an extent. But I was like, it might have been last weekend. I was just sitting down on the sofa, and I'm like, I'm on a dating app, right? I'm on a Hinge, and I was sitting there thinking, why am I on this app? Like, what purpose does this serve? Like, someone likes you and you match them or whatever, and you text them, and then you might speak for a couple of days, and then it's just like, oh, this is boring. I'm sick of asking how you are, or I'm sick of you asking this, and it's just like, what is this? And I got to the point where I just added someone. I'm like, with no disrespect at all, I've got to delete this app. I'm like, and I did speak to them, but I just didn't see what purpose it served for me. Like, I was clicking on my social media. The first thing I'm doing when I'm getting out of bed, social media, and then I'm like checking that, and it's just like, what am I doing? I'm worth so much more than that. So, trying to cut out the social media first thing is my next big thing, and I will do it. I'm determined to do it. But I had to delete Hinge. I had to delete it because I feel like I'm not making a real human connection with someone. Because I don't subscribe to the sort of the casual culture. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's me. I'll be honest. And that's quite a big thing to say on a podcast that's not about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd think it's like
I'm thinking, how far into your love life you're gonna go deep now?
No, I'm not gonna tell any intricacies or anything. But like, you're just like GK Barry right now, Dan. But what I'm saying is that I like to be sort of a bit more old school with how I approach.
Meet people in the real world on a real day to day, and naturally, that's I feel like that's where you're trying to come across.
Exactly, yeah. And I think I'm quite an outgoing person. I think when I go home, I've got 4.5 months of me being out and enjoying and doing things. I've already calculated what I need to work and how much I need to save, and I know I can do it. But I can also go out and enjoy myself and meet people. And I just think I don't think these apps actually serve you any good. And I think social media as a whole has many good advantages and many good things. But I do think that the negative impacts are there. But we're willing to sacrifice parts of our mental health for the sake of the good things. And I will continue to do that because I subscribe to social media. But for me, I had to get rid of Hinge. I had to get rid of that. I don't think that I'm making meaningful connections. And when we spoke about what our friends mean to us, are they just like a time in our lives? I was kind of sitting there thinking, but what are these people that I'm talking to? What are they to me? Because at the end of the day, like, I don't know them. They're not willing to invest their time in me. I'm not willing to invest my time in them. I've just got to remove these people, and then in turn that app out of my life, because it's like, well, why am I worrying about someone else? Or why am I worrying about other people that don't really care about me? So it's time for me to sort of go a bit closer to home, look at who really matters to me, and as you say, just meet people in the open. I know it's not something that I don't know if you've experienced it. I don't think you have, but like dating apps, I don't think you've.
I've never done dating apps, and I'm speaking from a position. I've now been with Scarlett for 1.5 years now, so it's almost like I can't quite relate in a way. However, I have had a time where I wasn't with Scarlett, and there is that single time in your life, and I've got mates around me who I know want a relationship, and everyone wants a relationship, and everyone knows there's one out there for them. It's just a matter of, well, when it's going to happen. Because I know there's people who just want it to happen now, and it's like, listen, I speak from a very grateful position where, I'm with my person now, Whereas there is that single life, and it's interesting because what I would say, and I think what I'm really feeling like saying, and when you're in that position you are in now, I can tell you right now that you will meet your person. You will meet your person at the right time. And when you meet your person, you'll be grateful for when you met that person. So in that period before, how can you be the best version of yourself for when you meet that person? And that talks about, like you say, bettering yourself, looking after yourself, loving yourself, like we spoke about, doing those things first so you can do it to others. However, that's not going to remove thoughts such as, I feel a bit lonely at times. I feel like I could do with someone right now like that. And I can tell you right now, brother, I've got love for you. So you can always reach out to me. And you've got love from your mum, you've got love from your stepdad, you've got love from your friends and people around you. And it's difficult. But when those feelings come in, don't sit there and go, oh, man, I'm just lonely, man. Because you're not. You're just in that space of your person isn't quite there yet. But enjoy that space, embrace that space, and learn to thrive in that space. So when that person comes, you're ready and they'll have the best Jamie Martin that they wanted and they've been looking for. You know, and it's interesting because I know you spoke to me this week, and maybe this is another thing you wanted to bring up about. If it is, then you can obviously speak first. You know, you were talking about the qualifications and stuff. Is that another thing you were going to bring up? And not actually going out and just doing it?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm glad you mentioned it because I didn't even think about it. But I'm a qualified football scout. You know, I've got the qualifications, and I haven't got the experience. I've had the opportunity to have the experience in terms of doing reports and opposition analysis, which means like basically just analysing the team that the other team's going to be playing, and we do it for clubs and stuff through the organisation that I got my qualifications from. And I've just not done it. You know, I applied for one and I got scared, you know, and I got it and I got scared. I was too nervous and I didn't trust myself and what I'd learned and my knowledge, even though I know what I can do. So, you know, I've set myself a target when I get home, put things up on my wall that I've achieved. You know, this is the reflection part of me that I don't think I do enough because it affects things I want to do. Even with coaching, sometimes I'll just freeze because I'll be like, "Oh my god, I'm nervous." You know what I mean? Like I've got to teach someone. I'm partly responsible for someone's development. That's a big thing. I take a lot of, you know, that's a big thing for me. But you know, the qualifications, like just a bit of that. What's it called? The imposter syndrome creeping in. You know, of like, are you really good enough? Is this? You know, I am good enough. You know, I am 100% good enough. And I'm going to back myself. When I get home, that first email comes in and I feel like I'm not jet lagged and I'm ready to go. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it, you know, and providing I'm not having a great time up in Newcastle with a certain someone, you know, who's just there, look, as long as it's not that weekend, then I'll go and do it, you know, and I always say to people, you've just got to back yourself. And in pretty much every walk of life, I back myself these days now, like the commentary thing. But I didn't back myself until I made that jump and just did it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't back myself until I just did it. So when that email comes in, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to do it.
100%. And we spoke about embracing that feeling. I know exactly what you mean, bro. I know exactly what you mean when you feel like you're just frozen. Like, what do I do now? Because when I spoke about it before, when I first started coaching, bro, I felt like I knew nothing. I felt like I couldn't make that impact. I felt like, what am I doing here telling these lot something when I don't really have much experience doing this? But over time, I've gained it and I've gained the confidence. Embrace that feeling. And I think it's important, like we speak about all these feelings and emotions we talk about, it's important to learn their value in a way. You know, back yourself and trust your value. And when you feel that imposter syndrome, or you feel like, brother, what am I doing here? Like, should I really be here? That is a good feeling. And that is a feeling you should, every time it comes up, I've got that feeling now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to jump. I'm jumping. That's the feeling you should be feeling. You know, I remember hearing Jimmy Carr say it. Every 18 months, you should experience imposter syndrome. It's growth. It's a good feeling, not a bad one. Embrace it and utilize it.
And you know what? I'm just going to do that now. And I'm just going to jump in head first with a lot of stuff. You know, as long as I've got, almost gear it up as if you're about to jump off a diving board.
I was just wondering what you were going to say there. Like, what are we jumping off here?
yeah, nothing crazy. Although the Australians, man, they're jumping off bridges that are like 20 meters high or something crazy. Like, they're insane. But anyway, like the imagine it like you're jumping off a diving board. First of all, don't dive with jeans on. Make sure you're equipped. Don't laugh yet. Stay with me. Make sure you got your swimming trunks on. And if you can't swim, make sure you've got your swimming aids on, right? It's just like when you want to try something new. Make sure you're prepared. Trust in what you've got on. Trust in what you have in terms of the knowledge. And just jump.
I love it, bro. When you said, don't jump with jeans on.
No, so the reason
expecting you to go that way.
Yeah, no, the reason I said it is because we were coming back. Sorry, I'm verging off I was in a really motivational mood just then, but we were coming back. We were coming back from going for a swim today, and we went to this. Oh, mate, this proper broke me. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to completely diverge. We went to the beach today, and we went to the Pass, which is a really beautiful part of Byron. That's when you search Byron Bay beaches on the internet, this is what comes up, and it's so beautiful. Really nice surf spot. Big cliffs, and there's like a big like sort of viewing point, and you can walk up these steps into the cafe. We went for a swim, and I was talking about how once I went to a swimming pool to learn to swim. I was like 10. I couldn't swim up until I was like 10, and I came out the swimming pool, dried off, and I forgot that I'd come in jeans. So I had to put these jeans on after going swimming. It's impossible. But this, bro, wasn't even the funniest part of the day because it got serious after this. So we were at the beach, and the Australian people that we're with, Hazel and Rebecca, the two people we're living with, we're all just chilling in the water. And the next minute, Rebecca just starts screaming. So I'm panicking. I'm like, we're in like chest deep water. I'm running away. I'm like, no. I'm like, get out of here. I'm like, what's going on? So I kind of go to a position where it's like a bit further away, and I'm like, are you all right? And she goes, no, something stung me. And I'm like, oh God, I thought she'd been bitten by a shark. So I was like panicking. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Where do I go? I'll never run away again, by the way. That was a bad move. But
I was about to say, you're helping her out. Yeah, you can stay there with the shark arm off.
Well, anyway, so I went to go and get her a towel so she could get this jellyfish off her, because it's called a Portuguese man of war, which is a blue bottle, as they call them out here.
Yeah, I've heard about them.
And they're really, these ones are quite small, really nasty. Well, it wrapped around her leg and stuff. So we got her a towel and she got it off. But she was obviously in pain, and she's still been in pain for the last couple of hours. Now, she had cancer in, last year. So she's had chemo, which has really affected the nerves in her legs. So the pain that she feels is way more than like the average person because of this. Now, I thought it would be a rational thing to do to go to the cafe that was just on the cliff edge and ask for some like hot water or ice, just to try and relieve the pain. Now, this bamboozled me because it tested something in me that I'd not had since I've been here. I've been so relaxed. I've not felt that sort of anger that I feel at home when some situations arise. But this woman who worked at the cafe just decided to start shouting and screaming at me. And I was held back because I was like, what? And she was like, our business will go... I'll send you the email I wrote, but our business will go out of business if you keep taking this water. And I was just like, mate, I'm not. I'm just asking for like the tiniest little cup of water because, our friend's been stung by this really bad jellyfish. And she just wouldn't have it. So we went back up another time, and I tried to calmly ask again. And she just kept shouting at me. And I was just like, this goes back to the positive impact thing, by the way. She had no positive impact on anyone that day. She just I lost it, Dan. I completely lost it, and I felt really embarrassed because we eventually got 2 ice cubes, and she wanted us to pay 20p to have these ice cubes. She was willing to shout at me for 10 minutes to get this 20p out of me. And I'm like, we don't bring our wallet to the beach. Like, what are you talking about? We came to the beach. We're just chilling. But anyway, we got the ice. We went and helped her out and whatever, and we all went home. But I just came back to myself and thought, like, why would you go and shout at someone like that? Do you know what is the sort of point in? I'm sorry to diverge so like immensely off what we were talking about.
I'm loving it. I love this diverge. It's a funny story.
But Dan, I've been so calm on this holiday, so calm, and I wasn't too happy the first time when she was shouting at me. I was like, "You just need to relax." Like, I didn't mean to offend you. I just wanted you to help us with this. I went back down, and it's when she started shouting at Hazel, Rebecca's mum, who's like 75. Yeah. And she was proper shouting at her, and I'm like, nah, that's too far. And in the end, Hazel had to like push me out of the shop and stuff because I kept shouting, you need to learn your manners, obviously with other words as well.
Jay, lost it.
But I had a complete head loss. But yeah, if I can give you any advice, if someone's been stung by a jellyfish, don't refuse them some hot water. Be a good person.
Yeah, if you can take anything from this podcast as well, this episode today, if you're on a diving board, just make sure you're not wearing jeans.
I don't even know why I've said that.
Oh, Jamie, it's been another great episode, though.
Well, hold on,
I love it every week.
Ooh. I've got to... No. I've got to ask you a little question before we do. We don't want to finish it just yet because I feel like we're going back to the second episode with that.
You want to stop there?
I've just realised the whole time we've had Door on Tour sticker on the top right.
I noticed that as well. It's gone now. I noticed that as well.
Oh, sorry. So if you're watching on Spotify or you're listening on Spotify, basically there's an emblem for so we share a platform with the YouTuber, and we've left his crest on there. So go shout out to you.
Also, coming towards the end of this podcast, I just need to shout out a fundraiser. I know Jacob. You know about it. Yes. So Jacob Sutcliffe, me, my friend Riley Bilson, and Aaron Hicklin, we're all running the Shakespeare Marathon, April 27th. We're raising money for Raynaud's and scleroderma disease. So they're close to Jacob's heart. We'll put the link in our bio on our Instagram. So go check that out, Making It Poddy. And if you really feel like you want to donate, find that link and give a donation.
Give a donation because it goes a long way. And when Jacob texted me this week about the fundraiser, I had no idea he was doing it. So definitely help out, donate anything you can. And when I'm home, I definitely will help out with that as well. But I shared a quote on my Instagram, and I can't quite remember the exact word.
The one that I took off you.
The one that you shared, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a nice way to end things today. I believe it was, you won't have it all figured out, something like that. It was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I've forgotten what it was, but it was basically that sentiment of like, you don't have to have it all figured out now. Sort of thing.
That was it.
And that is so important. And you don't know what tomorrow's going to do for you, Dan. I mean, I sort of know what tomorrow's going to do. I've got a taxi at 6 a.m. and off on a flight to Sydney tomorrow. But, the thing of life, like, it's such a big sentiment.
Yeah, figure it out today and figure it out tomorrow. And you'll always be figuring it out. You never stop learning.
Never stop learning. Be a sponge. And as Dan has already said, don't wear jeans if you're going on a diving board. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Anyway, I might as well say it actually because this is the last episode that I've got here. So I won't have this background. I'll have a professional background like Dan. But next week, we're taking it to the next level. We're going to have the most professional background that there is.
We're going to be recording it together. It's going to be a real live episode of the Making It podcast. So stay tuned for that next week.
Tuesday, 10 a.m. Have a fantastic week. Keep an eye on social media. and we'll catch you all very, very soon. But until then, take care.
Peace out, guys. Take care of yourselves.
A bit. Feel so fine.